So I just saw Justice League, and it was okay. I feel like I should start off by stating that it was substantially better than both Batman vs Superman, which I thought wasn't terrible, and Suicide Squad, which I thought was the motion picture equivalent of my dreams being killed and my groin being firmly punted. I'll start off with the good things. The first noticeable good difference from the aforementioned DC films is the same thing that made Wonder Woman as good as it was, and that was lightheartedness and fun value. When in a situation where everything is so serious and meant to be taken so gravely, it's very easy to make things feel odd or out of place if said or delivered incorrectly. Due to its lightheartedness and decent quality of writing, the dialogue varied from serviceable to above average. This film looked spectacular. Most shots that weren't in a city or somewhere with a disinteresting palette were usually bursting with colour and energy, which was very enjoyable. The relaxed relationship the script had with tone and mood allowed for smooth transitions between seriousness and comedy, which I really did enjoy. On the subject of comedy, I'm just gonna say it, The Flash was the best thing about this movie. Ezra Miller was charming, intelligent, and captivating as Barry Allen, and he gave everything for this performance. Before I finish up on comedy, Batman and Jason Momoa, the actor playing Aquaman, both had some independently hilarious moments as well. Ben Affleck and Sir Jeremy Irons also had some of the best scenes in the movie, displaying chemistry and constructing the emotional spine upon which both of their characters were built. Some of the fight scenes were truly awesome and had some very unique sequences, which helped both entertain and sharpen characters, most notably one bit with the Flash. There are some lingering issues with the film though. While very funny, Flash could sometimes come off a bit like his sole purpose of being in the film was just to dispense punchlines. This was probably due to the juxtaposition of behaviour between his and the other characters, as no one else seemed to consistently do so, but it did bug me after a little while. The direction of this film was very average. Nothing about the shot composition or method shocked me in the slightest, which really did irritate me. Sometimes the fight scenes could become repetitive, because apart from the moments in which characters would do something extra special, it was usually just exchanging punches or throwing each other into walls. The motive or next objective was usually unclear or generic. On that topic, I can't find a better word to describe the main villain other than generic. He was painfully bland. So painfully bland in fact that I have already forgotten his name. If he is a famous DC villain, I apologise, as I have not read the comics. The lack of objective or order in which the introduction of characters or even events as a whole took place left the pacing to feel random and stop-start. A narrative thread was played throughout the film in which a family suffering from the effects of the villain's plan were focused on as they adapted to their environment. This idea would have been much more effective if focused on several families rather than one. The acting from the main girl wasn't good, leaving her character to be interpreted as a walking cliché. Accentuating the presence of this one family simultaneously emasculated the presence of anyone else affected by the wrongdoings of the villain. The empathy would be strengthened through numbers and not singular character development, as it was rather poor. Apart from Wonder Woman, Superman and Batman, the backstories of every character was either too glossed over or too plain. I don't mind if they don't want to do the backstories. I mean, these are characters that most in the theatre are familiar with, but I think that this project was intended for a much more mainstream audience than most that watched it. I was just constantly getting the impression that they were truly trying to deliver good backstories for the characters, but the emotional investment just wasn't there for me. It makes sense that I'd think this though, as Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman have already been in films, and to be honest, I think that's how to fix this movie. This should have been made after every character had had at least one standalone film to their name. The Avengers was so cool because a 4-year build of character took place beforehand to give the audience the impression of a pre-established universe, and when all the elements that made it so assembled to kick ass, it was fantastic. All those moments we thought of and had wanted to see came to fruition, and the audience were left satisfied as supply met demand. Justice League guessed what its supply might have been and just gave it its best shot. I recommend Justice League to DC fans such as myself, as if you don't think about specifics of filmmaking coming together, you'll have a pretty fun time watching your favourite characters punch someone into oblivion. I did enjoy Justice League, and I definitely think it is a step in the right direction for DC, and I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.